10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Greatest legend of all time.
It is not a fantasy, Mr. Quatermain.
About the greatest treasure known to man. Is about to be pursued by the boldest, most daring hero ever to seek the thrill of adventure. Joined by an unlikely soldier of fortune. Richard Chamberlain is Alan Quatermain in King Solomon's Mines.
Surprise! Great reflexes, boys. The stick! Go back on the stick! I'm driving a car! I want to scream!
Their only hope in the hands of the enemy.
I will have only 2 words to say to you. Talk or die. That's 3 words. Huh?
Join Richard Chamberlain and Sharon Stone for the adventure of a lifetime.
I've got it!
Following a mythical trail to the forbidden, impenetrable,
Get her out of here!
inescapable. King Solomon's Mines. King Solomon's Mines.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good golly, Miss Molly. Welcome to the latest edition of the Canon Film Club, where we talk all things Canon films. Is that the first time Sharon Stone's ever been described as impenetrable?
Or a soldier of fortune.
Or a soldier
right?
of fortune.
That was the worst description of her character.
So we'll definitely be getting into that, I'm sure. But yes, today I am your host, of course, that 70s Rock fan. And today, me and my merry crew of adventurers into the darkest depths of Canon films. We're traveling to darkest Africa for an adventure of epic proportions with the 1985 gem stone that is King Solomon's Mines, starring the charismatic Richard Chamberlain as the intrepid Alan Quatermain. And the enchanting, there's a word for her, Sharon Stone, is the resourceful Jesse Houston, King Solomon's with
Exactly. That was easy for you to say.
It's King Solomon's Mines is a wild Indiana Jones inspired journey that combines humor, romance, and non-stop thrills. It took me ages to write this, so I'm going to read it. From escaping cannibals to battling ruthless treasure hunters, this canon movie has it all. And today we're going to explore that legacy. Grab your pith helmet so we can take the pith and prepare to embark on a quest for adventure on this wonderful, wonderful movie. Problematic by today's standards. We could have done this on Toxic Tuesday, I think.
Yeah.
Problematic by today's
Yeah, there's the part where Sharon Stone refers to a store owner by a certain descriptive term
Was
when
it
she's
someone-
mad at him.
Was it someone who may mount a large animal with two humps on their back?
Yes, someone who, a term for someone who rides that animal.
Indeed. And also later on, someone who may wear a drying device around their head.
Yeah.
So lots of problematic stuff, but nevertheless, we're going to pay tribute to this wonderful movie. Maybe a small but beautiful crowd with us here today in the chat. Welcome to you all on
Small but
YouTube.
well shaped.
Small but beautifully shaped, yes. Welcome to you all, whether you're on YouTube or the Green Machine, Rumble, or on Twitter, Twixer. Lord Thoth is here, Hoser. Christian Delorme, our great friend Christian, is hanging out. Davina, the great Davina, is there. We have Joe, who's in the chat and on the panel. He's on multiple chats and multiple panels. Mars Monkey Max, good to see you. Soul Assassin. And I'm sure others will be popping in as we continue, I hope. So we're going to have lots and lots of fun. But I'd like to first of all say hello to my wonderful friends who always turn out to support this and other shows. First of all, the great Pope Metallicus the First. How are you, my friend?
Doing great, man. Glad to be talking about this. I can't believe it's not Indiana Jones.
That's right. Could make that like I can't believe it's not butter. I can't believe
right.
It's not Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, some of the scenes are just straight up like. I had to check when this was made in comparison to like Raiders of the Lost Ark, just to see which one came first.
Well, that's the first thing I did, and it was like 5 years.
Okay, who's stealing from who here?
Yeah. They called it a parody canon. Whether they called it that before or after it was released, I'm not sure. And Richard Chamberlain,
it is kind of a parody in the same, but with the same tone that Indiana Jones had of kind of a lighthearted, fun adventure movie.
Yeah, they had some of the
top in ways that Indy
Richard
wasn't.
Chamberlain said, "Oh, we've definitely got our tongues planted firmly in cheeks." I'm not sure whose cheek he was talking about, but he said it's tongue in cheek, and it is very much a comedy, I think, but a comedy with action. So it's
and they even have Germans, just not the fun Germans.
Not the fun Germans. Yes, they have the First World War Germans. So they try to equate them with the later Yahtzees, but
guys with the pointy helmets.
The pointy helmets.
It's like, no, not the German Empire, not the bad one.
Tim is here. Good to see you, Tim.
The Kaiser's boys. Yeah.
Kaiser's boys. And there's a bit of a story behind that, so we'll get into that. But also with us is a man who I know adores this kind of movie. He loves lighthearted, frothy comedies. It's Imperatus.
I do enjoy this movie, and I do enjoy comedies. How dare you?
I know you did. That's why I said it.
Ah, okay. That's how it's working today.
No,
It's a good flick. It's definitely more intentionally comedic than Indiana Jones is, where that had elements of comedy to it. This went for it right out the gate. Like not trying to be something more than it's not.
It rarely took itself too seriously at any point.
Yeah.
There's no mortal threat that you can put your finger on, and it was everything was played for laughs, even being boiled alive. So
I kind of missed this era of action comedies.
Yeah, Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It was,
it's very much in the same vein as like Indiana Jones and Romancing the Stone. Kind of more Romancing the Stone than it's more a comedy than anything else.
Yeah, I would say it's more like Romancing the Stone or even Ice Pirates.
Yeah,
well, yeah, Ice Pirates is a good example. But according to Austin, who unfortunately can't join us today, Austin Trunick of the Canon Film Guides, and it's in Canon Film Guide Volume 2, where he talks about this movie. It was actually more inspired by Romancing the Stone than it was Indiana Jones, because that was more recent, and it had the male female dynamic to the extent they tried to get Kathleen Turner for this movie, but she turned it down because it was too similar. So they actually even tried to get her. So they did, of course, get John Rhys-Davies. So they got somebody that was in Raiders to be in this. But yeah, it's a fun romp. I've always enjoyed this movie, and yeah, I understand. Even at the time, people said this is a bit problematic in places with cannibals or whatever. They said it's a parody. It's a parody. So
Yeah,
anyway,
when you get dropped Sharon Stone and Richard Chamberlain into a giant pot with vegetables, like tomatoes, cucumbers, and corn in the middle of Africa, and like they went to a grocery store.
Yeah. Tim is saying that Ken Gampu is in this film, and we are going to talk a little bit about Ken Gampu. He was in The Gods Must Be Crazy, amongst other things. He's a very interesting guy, so we'll be talking about him. And he was in The Wild Geese, of course. Great movie.
One of my favorites. That's why you mentioned it. I love The Wild Geese.
Me too.
That is one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
It is good.
I love
isn't it?
that movie.
I got the physical copy back there somewhere.
I've got one too.
Yeah. So, Joe, how are you, my friend?
I am fantastic, man. Couldn't be better. Turned 59 last Thursday, and I'm still alive, so that's good.
Holy shit.
I got 1 year away from getting into that 6-decade mark, but I got 1 year to hold it off.
Hurry up and join me.
I'm going to join you next year about this time, but hey, I'm going to hold it off as long as I can.
I'll still be the oldest guy on YouTube, but
yeah, in our circle you will be. Yeah, absolutely.
Good to see you though, mate. And little Chad, thank you for joining us, my friend.
Oh, no problem. I love them Canon films. If I'm available, I'll be here.
We do like the cannons, and speaking of cannons, we should point out that this movie does have a very large pair of breasts. It is indeed Sheba's breasts. The twin mountain peaks will be featured unadorned, naked as they were intended to be seen. So I didn't even put Mad on them. I should have put Mad Martigan on them, but I didn't. I ran out of time. So someone out there wants to do a quick meme with the mountains from this movie with Mad's image on them. Yeah, hang on. Richard Chamberlain looks at Sharon Stone and says, "Sharon, you're not my type." The thing is, he's an actor, and he was relatively convincing at romance scenes, despite, as we know, that it wasn't necessarily his cup of tea. As same with Ian McKellen. He said, "I'm an actor. I can play whatever you want me to play." So, cool. So let's get right into this wonderful, wonderful Canon film, filmed in Zimbabwe, with the full support, despite everyone calling it problematic at the time, with the full support of the Zimbabwean government and several tribes there. They were very happy to get involved and provide a ton of support in terms of cast and crew, although there were some complaints about they weren't paying them well enough.
On a Canon film?
On a Canon film?
How is that possible?
How is that possible? And of course, they filmed these back to back with the sequel. Filmed Alan Quatermain and The Lost City of Gold was filmed back to back, although slightly different cast in the second one with James Earl Jones. We're not really going to talk about the second movie today. Just the first one, but yeah, they were, and the second one was not a big success, unfortunately. This one was a moderate success, although in true Canon fashion, they said the budget was $12 million. I think they might have overestimated that for publicity purposes. It was 12 million, honest.
Although, I mean,
sure.
at least half of that probably went to the cast.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, 12 of those went to the cast. 12 of those no.
Yeah.
I mean, how much was snorted? I don't know, but a good amount.
Good amount. Yeah.
We can't confirm or deny any of that.
Yeah.
But,
some of this great artwork. It was a reasonably, if 12 million was to be believed, of course, that's a reasonably big budget for Canon. Yes, we cannot say Rhodesia. They had actually changed the name to Zimbabwe by the time this was filmed, but obviously the former Rhodesia. Some nice artwork though.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of something else that I can't quite pin my.
Possibly Indiana Jones, maybe.
Pin anything on it.
Yeah.
Kind of orangey red.
Yes, definitely high octane colors there. Definitely.
I think that they're definitely going for that. They say they were parodying that look, and I agree. It's played for laughs, but at the same time, the action was pretty good too. They didn't make the action a joke out of the action. There was jokes in the action, but not a joke out of it. So
no.
This is an early. I find this one fascinating. You know, Canon always used to try and sell stuff before they'd even made it. This was when them trying to sell this movie at probably Cannes the year before. King Solomon's Mines, starring Richard Chamberlain and Telly Savalas.
Yeah.
Now, I think Sharon Stone was probably a better choice for Jesse Houston than Telly Savalas. Who knows these days? I mean, it's
depends on who you're marketing to, brother.
I'm assuming Telly Savalas was playing what became the Herbert Lom role, but
yeah.
But
I mean, he probably would have been Richard Chamberlain's first choice for Amazing
I probably would have been, yeah. I do find it interesting artwork though, because it's slightly more reminiscent of a sort of Conan in Africa style. If you like.
Yeah, like a pulp novel from 1921. They probably just, if I know Golden Globes, man, they probably just found a book in a used bookstore and photocopied.
That's right.
And used that image and just threw their.
I was going to say this is a classic character now. Let's not forget Alan Quartermain. You know, didn't they make several books with him as the character?
Oh, there was about 15 or 18 books. We're actually talking. We will be talking about that. Well, yeah. I mean, H. Rider Haggard, or Henry Rider Haggard. It was H. Sounded snappier. Like maybe what people think he was a woman. I don't know. It's the other way around. Normally, the women use the initials to hide the fact. Obviously, very. Well, I wouldn't say out of favor now, but one of the kings of adventure fiction. Possibly even the guy. Well, he didn't invent it, but he certainly popularized it in the Victorian. I mean, even I was born in the Victorian era. I remember him. Now, the movie took $15 million domestically in the US, but one of the things that appealed to Canon was public domain.
Yes. Do whatever we want with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
it.
think, yeah.
You don't have to pay someone? Yes.
We don't have to pay for this. So I think it was either 15 or 18 Quatermain books written. Obviously, he wrote other, like the She novels and so on. And at the time, massively popular novels at the time, full of adventure, and Africa was seen as the dark, exotic continent and was busy getting chopped up by European powers. So, but they took the movie setting forward. He wrote it in the 1800s, I think, but they took it forward to the First World War era to show the Germans who were real. Well, they actually were trying to expand into Germany. Germany was trying to get colonies in Africa. They're way behind all the other European nations, but they were trying to catch up on that. So a little bit of verity in that stuff. But yeah, it was meant to be a trilogy actually, but the first two failed, so they never got around to making the third one, which I think was going to be using the She character. So it was Alan and She. So we'll never get that now. But there have been, Canon, of course, were accused of. I'll come back to this. We're accused of cashing, on Indiana Jones' success. But then other people made the argument, well, Raiders ripped off H. Rider Haggard in the first place.
Well,
That's also
it ripped
true.
off several things, but this being one of them for sure.
Yeah, the writers owes a lawful lot to Quatermain, I think. But that's neither here nor there now. But
and knowing George Lucas and his taking inspiration from old pulp stuff and stuff like, I have no doubt that he read King Solomon's Mines as a kid and then just kind of adapted it in his own mind.
And of course, as Pete Fogg rightly points out, Sean Connery appeared as Quatermain in.
I was going to say that too.
League of I actually like that movie a lot more than some people.
I like it. I don't know what
it's a fun.
I guess if you're a fan of the graphic novel, which I've never read, I guess that's why they're mad about it. I don't know, but I thought it was great. I thought it was a really cool movie.
Yeah, and I actually don't know that because I'm not an H. Rider Haggard fan particularly, so I don't know the development of the character or how he ended up in that League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But I can see why Sean Connery would have chosen to do it. Quatermain is a character I think that he fitted. Just a shame he gave up Gandalf for it. There you go.
Yes. He ended up in there because the graphic novel, which was done by the same, for people like it was the same guy did Watchmen. And he wanted to basically he took all the great public domain British characters of the 19th century and put them into a superhero team. So you got Mina Harkness, Alan Quarterman. So he put him in there
because Nemo. That's my favorite one.
Because he was one of the public domain pulp heroes of that era.
Yeah.
And that's where Dr. Jekyll, So and much like Richard Chamberlain, Sean Connery thought he got baited and switched when it came to what was sold to him that the movie was going to be versus what was filmed and made.
Well, that's not quite how he would have said it, though. He would have said, I was baited and switched. Switched.
No, I think what he ended up saying was, fuck it, I'm retired.
I don't think he could have stood doing the Lord of the Rings was like how many years of filming in New Zealand? Like 3-4 years. Yeah. He would have been pissed off by the end.
He'd have been pissed off by that too.
Where's the golf course? Anyone for tennis? So anyway,
I like those short shorts.
I like those shorts on that stone woman. I like the shorts on that Gimli guy.
But Alan Mason will always, or not. No, it's James Mason. James Mason will always be.
James.
He will always be Captain Nemo to me. So
I wish I could do a great James Mason voice. I love that voice. I used to do it. I've stopped doing it years ago. I'll have to try again. So it's not the first. I mean, there are multiple adaptations of King Solomon's Mines. H. Rider Haggard. This is an interesting one. Actually, this is a scene from my living room earlier today. This is the 1919 silent version produced in South Africa, believed to be lost. No copies to be found. But it's a still shot from it. Looks like they went to a fair effort, Not bad, Then there was a 1937 version starring Paul Robeson and Cedric Hardwicke.
Obviously colorized.
Colorized poster there. Cedric Hardwicke. I wonder if he would have got on with Richard Chamberlain.
With the choice of colors they put on that outfit. Yeah, that salmon shirt. I don't think he'd been wearing that back then.
I think Paul Robeson's lurking in the background here. But, I'm not sure of just how successful that one was, but I think the one everybody really knows and the one I grew up watching on TV was the 1950 big hit starring Stuart Granger and Deborah Kerr. Both Brits, despite their Hollywood careers. Both Brits. Deborah Kerr's from Glasgow. Born and brought up in Glasgow in Scotland. You would never know it. But this one was a bit of a hit. Thousands of thundering African jungle beasts in the wildest stampede ever filmed. They didn't put that one in the canon one. There's about a shot of some stock footage of some elephants.
Budget constraints there. Budget.
Yeah, but there's there's a link. There's a slight link to this because Ken Gampu was in The Wild Geese, and so was Stuart Granger. So there you go. There's a link between the two movies.
Yep. That's right. He was the banker, wasn't he?
Yes,
behind the whole thing.
He was the banker. Look at these hunky people. This is what you got in 1950. Top quality stuff. Love it. There was a 1979 version, which I've never seen, starring David McCallum, John Colicos, Britt Eklund, who looks like she's playing some queen, and Patrick McNee with the Admiral's hat on. So
wait. David McCallum played a good guy?
He apparently did.
See, he'll always be the what was his name on Battlestar Galactica? The turncoat, the guy that turned us over to the Cylons. What the hell was his name?
Baltar.
Yeah,
Baltar. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, he'll always be that to me.
He's always going to be Ilya Kuryakin to me. Although he did do that great show with Joanna Lumley, Sapphire and Steel. If you ever see that, it's a really good show. The X-Files, on a shoestring budget, and then. Apparently, there was an Australian animated version, which again I've never seen. But there was also this, which I must admit I've also never seen. 2004 TV miniseries starring Patrick Swayze as.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Who's the chick behind him? Is that Ursula Andress?
It's Alison Doody.
Okay, she looks like Ursula Andress, man. Look at those eyebrows. Yeah. She looks just like her.
I have to say, Swayze looks the part.
Yeah, he does. He looks tough as nails, man.
Well, Snorty mentions Ducky, so yeah, David McCallum, Ducky. R.I.P. David McCallum, by the way. Good Scotsman, another good Scotsman. And then apparently there was, there may have been a 2008 direct TV version, but I can't find much about it. So because it's public domain, it just attracts people, you know. So.
It's a movie you can do on the cheap to kind of try to drum up interest in a series or make money because, like you say, there's a bunch of novels and they're all public domain. So you can just kind of start with King Solomon's Mines, the most famous one, and go where you want.
Yeah, Davina's saying that the Swayze version isn't that bad, but it's slow-paced and missing drama. So,
hey, it's another chance. It's another chance to check out the Swaz, man. A guy that left us way too early.
He did.
Love Patrick Swayze. Love him.
So let's take a look at the cast of this movie. Richard Chamberlain. I think he may well have been the first choice for it.
At the time, he was the king of the miniseries. He was some might call the father of the miniseries. He was in all the big ones back in that day. Yep.
He plays the witty and intrepid Alan Quatermain. There's no R before the T. Quarter, not quarter. Quatermain, big game hunter and adventurer, made famous as an actor. And I like him in this role.
Yeah,
he fits very well in this role.
He does. He's got the right humor. He is athletic enough. He's got quite tall. Got the charm. Roughs up reasonably well. Maybe not too great, but roughs up okay. And his humor, I think, comes through in it. Chuck Norris, I always thought, could have played this. It's a canon movie. Imagine if that was.
Yeah, he'd have fit in. Yep, for sure. he wouldn't have been as erudite as this guy, though.
No, he would have eaten the cannibals, though. Never mind.
Right. Yes, he would have. Yes, but this guy, he played some great roles. He's in another one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. He's in The Towering Inferno.
Oh, well, we did that one. We did that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And the other one that I really liked from back in the miniseries days, it wasn't any of the big ones like Shogun or anything like that. He was the first guy to play Jason Bourne.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
So obviously Dr. Kildare, which I wouldn't remember. I'm not sure they even showed it in the UK. If they did, I was a kid. Made him on TV. Did move into movies though with this is one of my favorite movies, The Three Musketeers.
Yep.
Dick Lester directed with Oliver Reed and Richard Chamberlain. It's a lot of fun movie. And then of course you mentioned The Towering Inferno, where he played a really.
He is the asshole in that movie. He's the one that caused everything to happen. Yep.
He is
cutting corners.
Shit. And then, of course, he was in the 1980 Shogun with a certain John Rhys-Davies.
Yep, there's another Indiana Jones tie-in. Yeah.
In my opinion, the best miniseries ever made.
Yeah, I do like it. I mean, I do like it a lot. Chamberlain was both equally praised and mocked at the time for Blackthorn. I actually thought he was pretty good.
He was really good, and of course, starring the legendary Toshiro Mifune as Toranaga.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
you got to discount War and Remembrance and North and South. I mean, best miniseries and
Thornbirds.
When he was where he was picking up the girl that he groomed. Yeah, there was all sorts of things.
Well, there's an idea for a future show of best and worst miniseries of all time.
Here we go.
There you go.
Yeah,
let's do that.
Some real crackers in there. Yeah, so to speak. So King Solomon's Tea Shop, Quartermain, and the Curse of the Oolong. Snorty, that is brilliant. It's Chuck Norris, if he's allowed a blessed mortal to portray him. The Quatermass Experiment. Richard Chamberlain in the Quatermass Experiment. I love those Quatermass things. I like this one, sorry. I don't know why, but Chamberlain looks like he could pull off Dash Render from Shadows of the Empire if it was made into a movie. I could see that.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. He was pretty damn good at these things. You know, he knew what he was doing with them. And he was pretty tall and good looking. Maybe slightly less machismo for certain action parts, but
yeah.
But I liked him, and I thought he did a great job in this. His humor just comes through to the fore.
Yeah.
However, the bearing of the English adventurer type of he's kind of got that sparkle behind his eyes the whole time. He's making jokes the entire throughout the whole thing.
Hey, Clay. Roots. I remember watching Roots. Yeah. I think A Lonesome Dove would be one of my favorites.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. So many good ones. Of course, the co-star in this is the celebrated or indeed reviled, depending on your point of view, Sharon Stone, playing Jessie Houston, the resourceful and feisty archaeologist searching for her missing father. Great legs, by the way.
Yeah. Look. Physically, she's a babe. This is one of those ones I kind of have to separate the art from the artist kind of thing. But yeah, she's a babe, no doubt about it.
She's really cute in this. It was her first lead in a feature film, not her first appearance, but first lead. And obviously, she did things like some of the police academies and so on. We have certainly
done
seen
Total Recall yet. I don't think she had.
No, Total Recall wasn't until 88, 89.
And we've all seen where she keeps her star power.
Right.
But she did go on, obviously, to become an enormous star in the 90s with Total Recall, Basic Instinct, The Quick and the Dead, which is one of my
Quick and the Dead, which is on a lot of people's short lists for best Western ever. Yeah.
Quick and the Dead, great movie. And Casino, she is absolutely brilliant in Casino.
I think she was nominated for that movie.
Yeah.
I think she was, yeah.
So she did her best work in that era. Now, today, I'm not able to play any clips from the movie because, as I was saying to everybody before we started, even just a 5-second clip was getting copyright claimed right out the block by MGM. So I couldn't play any clips, but I do have my all-time favorite Sharon Stone clip.
Sweetheart, we're married.
Consider that a divorce.
Oh, you should have played the rest of it. Consider that a divorce.
I'm going to keep it short.
Yeah, but it's so great.
Well, he did say consider that a divorce.
Yeah. No, what the girl said, Marina had said after that, she said, "That was your wife? What a bitch."
I get Snorty's killing it in the chat here. Sharon Stone is starring as Flashing Beaver in the Native American epic
Spreading wide.
Oh, that deserves some kind of no, not that one. Sorry, I'm looking for the other one. Looking for the other one. Oh, what have I done with it? Oh, here.
You have our gratitude.
I was going to say, what is this? The Scottish version of "You make me laugh"? Go to Gulag.
Right.
Go to Gulag. Yeah. You're funny. Now die. Anyway, Sharon Stone made the best of this first leading role, and it was fun. Again, she got the humor of it. I believe, like all things, she was difficult to work with, but you don't see that on the screen. She's pretty funny.
Yeah, the behind the scenes was notorious with how nobody liked her.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
there's some crazy stories about how much they didn't like her and the things they did because they didn't like her.
I think she was just frustrated because she kept making a pass at Richard Chamberlain and didn't seem to be getting anywhere. But, so also in the movie is Herbert Lom, plays the villainous German imperialist Colonel Bochner, and as I said, they shifted the action from the 1880s to, they don't explicitly say First World War, but it's kind of at the start of it, I think. And Germany's trying to expand into Africa and wanted colonies, which is true, they did, Sudetenland and places like that. And he's leading this bizarre charge to find the mines so he can, for the glory of the, he says the Reich. I'm not sure the First World War Germans mentioned that word, but they may have.
It would have been the Kaiserreich, but yes.
Yeah, and they do a lot of jokes here, like with the Wagner and the eating of the Schnatzenbrugger.
I'm just disappointed his pith helmet didn't have a little point on it.
It should have had. He's got a little point in the top of his head here.
Well, if you're going to do comedy, that's a good guy to have in there.
Pickelhaube is one of the most aesthetic
because he's one of the most iconic comedy characters of all time.
Yeah,
no doubt.
So Herbert Lom is a fabulous actor, or was a fabulous actor. Czech, born in Czechoslovakia and raised there, but moved to Britain when Germany invaded and became a British citizen eventually. Absolute regular British movies and TV. This in particular is one of my favorite movies, The Lady Killers. I don't know if any of you have ever seen The Lady Killers with Alec Guinness and Peter Sellers, where they play a bunch of guys that are going to rob a bank. They're pretending to be a band.
That's where he hooked up with Sellers, huh? Okay, yeah.
And they made Tom Hanks made a remake of it years later, but the British one is the one. Funny movie with fabulous performances.
Because you know which ones with Sellers in it. I know him from.
Yeah,
oh my
gosh. He's got the rock and roll Teddy Boy jacket on.
Yeah, check him.
The Herbert Lom was in it. It's a check. If you've never seen The Lady Killers, check it out. Great British comedy, one of the best ever. But also he did a lot of Hammer stuff and horror in general, but Hammer movies, I guess, because he had a very dark aspect and could play that sort of dark downbeat role. He did the lead in Phantom of the Opera, which was a Hammer production, 1962, but will always be famous internationally for playing
Chief Inspector Dreyfus. That's right, bro.
Who doesn't appear until the second movie, A Shot in the Dark. He's not in the first one. The long-suffering Chief Inspector Dreyfus.
The long-suffering Chief Inspector Dreyfus, yes. He has his greatest moment in Strikes Back, isn't it? In the Strikes Back, where he develops the weapon and everything. Yeah,
that's right. And I love the one where he's trying to cut his cigar and he's angry and he cuts his finger off.
Look, he's awesome. Love him.
He's so good. He did it. He was in Spartacus and El Cid and a whole bunch of other movies. He was a fabulous actor. Great actor. So really a high quality guy to get in this kind of comedic German role.
Yeah.
Well, a long canon tradition of having really, really famous actors playing villains.
Oh yeah, Cannon had that's right. And Cannon had a lot of great guys in their movies, in their casts, despite everything.
Max von Sydow playing Skeletor.
I know, but you got also the great John Rhys-Davies playing Dogati, the murderer slaver. I love this picture.
I love the fact that they have a FAL that's obviously dressed up as a Lewis gun.
Yeah,
They probably couldn't afford a real one.
It looks so good, though.
It does. It looks good for a Lewis gun, but you have the FAL magazine sitting right there.
So sorry, go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say, it looks like he's going to burn the shit out of his hand if he fires that thing.
Yeah. So John Rhys-Davies, absolutely still with us, thankfully. Welsh legend, John Rhys-Davies, a man who's made a lot of his famous career playing Middle Eastern guys.
Playing guys with turbans on his head.
So totally couldn't do that now. Absolutely couldn't do that. And also playing very, very short people, but he could probably get away with that. Here he is, of course, and many years before, he had been in Raiders of the Lost Ark in 81. Obscure film called Raiders of the Lost Ark playing Salah. So he'd been in a similar movie, but he wasn't a stranger to canon because he'd been in Sahara, which is another canon movie. Which is this one, again playing a Middle Eastern guy. He's Welsh, for God's sake. Might as well play Tom Jones. Get Tom Jones in.
Right? Yeah.
Sword of the Valiant, one of the craziest canon movies ever. And he also was in Firewalker, of course, with Chuck Norris. So, but obviously,
Firewalker had the same director as this one too.
That's right. Yeah, same director, J. Lee Thompson. But obviously, no one's going to forget him ever in history because of Gimli. Never to be forgotten.
One of the greatest special effects moments of all time, making John Rhys-Davies look like he's a dwarf.
That's right. Yeah.
In real life, the man's like 6'5". He's huge.
That's so that great Arabic actor Abdul Rhys-Davies. Even at the time, people were like, "Come on."
Come on, are you serious?
Really?
You couldn't find any Middle Eastern actors who would do this?
Yeah, dude with the towel in his head carrying a cannon in case HR didn't exist then, would have given them heart attacks. So, but wonderful, wonderful actor, just great and everything. And he's been in so much stuff when you look down his career.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff in Britain that you guys might never have seen years ago, TV stuff. But wonderful guy. Always got these Middle Eastern characters of dubious morals, though. So maybe that says something about him. Somebody mentioned Ken Gampu earlier. South African actor. He plays Umbopo in this movie, which actually, obscurely enough, is the name of a song written by Kevin Godley and Lol Cream of 10cc before 10cc existed, and one of these pop hits they used to churn out for what they call bubblegum, and they wrote one called Umbopo, which there's a bit of trivia for you, music trivia. South African, he was one of the first South Africans to break into Hollywood. He also, though, appeared in the 1979 King Solomon's Treasure as a Zulu chief.
Wow.
The one I can never pronounce, Unslopogogas. I can never. Sorry, my apologies to the Zulus.
No, check out E. Clay Thomas. Bumblebee tuna. Bumblebee tuna. It's great.
The tallest star in Lord of the Rings playing one of the shortest characters. Couldn't have hired a real dwarf. Well, according to Peter Dinklage, no. That would have been bad.
Oh, yeah, right.
Bumblebee tuna.
Expensive.
So, there's a movie he made that I'd love to see, and I've never seen it. And it was banned in even though it was made in South Africa, it was banned for like 40 years by the apartheid government there. It was a all-black action movie called Joe Bullet. I want to see this.
Dude, soccer balls flying and explosions.
It's
wow.
about corruption in soccer, and there's actually also it is out there now. You can see it. I've yet to find a copy, but it is available. I do like the co-star Cocky Thola Thamali. Cocky's a great name. So he became Joe Blow, and he'd make some sequels later, banned at the time in South Africa because the South African authorities thought we don't want we don't want our South African subjects being seen in a good light. So he stuck it to the man. Good for him. And it was
Assassin says it's on YouTube too.
Could be, yeah, could be. So I'm going to watch that. As we mentioned earlier, the small part in the Wild Geese.
Yes.
Which also featured Stuart Granger. So another connection between King Solomon's Mine movies. So Joe Gampu is really the connection between three of them.
Yeah.
And he turns up in American Ninja 4, the Annihilation. I was going to say the Annihilator. So he's got a little bit of a canon thing going on too. He was in that movie. I don't want to linger on too many more of the cast before we get into some stills of the movie and try and walk through it. But another guy I thought was worth a mention was actually uncredited in the movie, who's Jesse's father, Professor Houston, who is played by a guy called Bernard Archard. Bernard Archard. He's in the movie quite a bit, and yet he's uncredited. Those of us who are older Brits will remember this guy from a veteran of thousands of British TV shows and comedies and movies, often playing a colonel or a chief inspector or a professor. And he was in a bunch of things. This is a movie. What's it? It's it'll come back to me. I've got it. Somebody else involved with this movie was. You know what? I've lost all my notes here. The List of Adrian Messenger. That's it. This is a movie called The List of Adrian Messenger that Jerry Goldsmith did the music for. There's a link. But he was also in. And I've got the Blu-ray back there.
He looks really familiar, man.
Yeah. He was in this Doctor Who, The Power of the Daleks, which is from one of my doctor, Patrick Troughton. He played a baddie in that one. Somewhere here. Oh, there it is. So Power of the Daleks. Animated, because most of it was lost, but there's a lot of still images still remain. So he was in that. But not only that, he turned up later on in The Pyramids of Mars with Tom Baker. And you can see him on the left there. So I like to mention that because I'm an OG Doctor Who fan. So nice little link. He was in a lot of different shows. Great guy. Director was J. Lee Thompson, who we've talked about before with his multiple canon films to his credit. And he's an interesting guy because he was British, but he was a B-29 tail gunner in World War II. So, but he was a Brit. Well-established director. Canon, I mean, he made a lot of canon movies, but before that, he really was a top-class director. I'm not saying he wasn't top-class for canon. So and made a lot of war movies like Ice Cold and Alex, which is a great movie. If you've
Guns of Navarone.
Guns of Navarone.
Yeah.
Directed that. Fantastic movie. I mean, can't say enough about it. Cape Fear was one of his.
Really?
Yeah, the first Cape Fear.
Wow.
Directed by and this is the quality that Cannon managed to get for some of these movies, you know. Mm-hmm. And these are all the ones he made for Canon. I mean, there's some pretty good stuff in there, you know.
He made Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Wow.
He did that. Yeah, he did that too. Yeah. So, Pyramids of Mars.
Surprised I don't know this guy's name because Guns of Navarone and the Ape movies are a couple of my favorite franchises.
J. Lee Thompson, yeah. And then became
I completely forgot that Robert Mitchum was in a canon movie.
He was The Ambassadors. Yeah. I think it was his last movie. Oh no, it was Rock Hudson's last movie. That was the final movie Rock Hudson made.
Yeah, you got Robert Mitchum, Rock Hudson, and Donald Pleasance in a canon film. Holy crap!
Ellen Burstyn. I mean, it's a pretty good cast, and it was a serious thriller. So he had quite the canon. We've talked about it before, but a lot of great canon stuff. What have I got here? Oh, I just thought this is nothing to do with the movie we're watching today. But I found this on the internet. I just think this is hilarious. If Cannon made Doctor Who with Charles Bronson.
Oh my God.
Less sonic screwdriver and more killed someone with a screwdriver.
That's right, yeah. It's just hilarious. I want to see this. I would give anything to see this.
Sorry, Charles Bronson as the Doctor.
Yeah. This time, Doctor Who isn't just out to save the galaxy. He wants revenge. Right, what's this? Oh, yeah. This is the screenplay is written by Gene Quintano, actor, writer, and director. He co-wrote and acted in this movie, which is the absolute bonkers 3D Raiders of the Lost Ark, real canon cash-in on Raiders of the Lost Ark called Treasure of the Four Crowns, which was in Supervision 3D. I think it's a canon. Maybe it isn't. Yeah, Golden Globus Canon Group. So I've only seen it once, not in 3D. So he wrote and acted in that, but he also was Making the Grade was another canon film that he was involved with as a writer. But I think Gene Quintano, I give him credit for writing the one and only hockey action thriller ever, Sudden Death.
Sudden Death.
Where the Pittsburgh Penguins are the villains. And that's what we wanted to see.
Just like real life.
Yeah, just like real life. Yeah.
Not hearing anything that isn't factually true so
right.
far.
There's a great scene in this where the Penguins mascot is the baddie and starts shooting people.
I mean,
there's only one black and gold team in the NHL, right, Pope?
Hell yeah.
Black and gold. You guys aren't knights, are you? Is that
No. That's a new one. No. I don't even consider that's brass.
So Tim's. I know who Tim was supporting in this movie. It was the Penguins. They weren't all baddies, just some impersonators. But there was another tagline about this, like overtime. If it goes to overtime, we're all going to die or something. An NHL themed action movie. Well done to everyone involved. The other writer was James R. Psyche, canon veteran, did a lot of stuff. Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3 nominations, Sahara, and he did this one, The Barbarians.
The Barbarians.
Which again, I've only seen once on VHS, and it was just, there's too much testosterone. I couldn't watch it. I had to wring the tape out after. It was just dripping with testosterone.
That movie was great. The guys they're completely stupid, and
it is great. It's a great one. Oh, coming in hot from New Zealand, our great friend, our TNZ, $5 New Zealand. There once was a street named after Chuck Norris. They had to change the name because no one crosses Chuck Norris and lives. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you for the super chat. For that, you must get a clip for that. This one, I think. That's thanking you for your contribution. Hey, Courtney. Good to see you. The Barbarians is a very interesting movie. This is one of the few movies where the guys have got bigger breasts than the girls.
Fixing to say, man. God.
I used to look like that.
These movies lived everywhere in Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, like local cable access.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
But I did used to look like that. Well, I mean, I looked like the one in the middle.
And they're probably getting a second life on free television. I don't know if you guys have watched any free television lately, but there's a whole lot of channels out
Tubi's
there.
got some stuff.
Yeah.
Tubi.
No, I'm talking about non-streaming that you'd pick up with your antenna.
It's cool.
Crazy.
There's some stuff out there. Director of photography was an interesting guy. I just wanted to briefly cover that in the music, and then we'll get into the slides. Alex Phillips Jr., although it's probably not pronounced that because he's Mexican, whose career started in cinematography way back in the 60s in Mexico. Ton of movies in Mexico. But he also worked on other canon stuff. Number One with a Bullet, which is a great movie. By
Billy
the way.
D.
Yeah, great movie. Murphy's Law he did as well. Firewalker. He was a DP on. He was a DP on a film called Sunburn with Farrah Fawcett Majors that I'm.
There's another one that's famous because of its song that's attached to it, right?
Sunburn, yeah.
No, this one.
All right,
right here.
Born in East. So he also was the DP on Born in East LA, which is a great movie, 1987 movie, and he did. He wasn't the DP, but he did work in the camera crew in Total Recall. So again, a guy with a ton of experience, and it does look good, and there's a lot of action. So he did a lot of great work with that action. You can see some green screen stuff and some slowed down and slowed up stuff, but it's the action's still pretty good. And so obviously you've got speaking of Total Recall, Sharon Stone, and obviously Basic Instinct she was in as well. The soundtrack for this movie is Jerry Goldsmith, who did both of those two.
Now, how did they come up with the money to pay Jerry Goldsmith, man? That's got to be half the budget, right?
Well, they shot both movies back to back.
Yeah.
And Jerry Goldsmith is only the credited music on the first movie.
Yes.
So what they did is in the second one, they probably used most of 2 movies worth of budget to get his music. And then for the second one, there's only like 20 minutes of original, but they gave the other guy the screen credit for music. So they didn't have to give him residuals.
I think in the second one, they keep recycling the same theme as well. It's really
they take like 2 minutes. It's like basically like how Goldsmith did in Star Trek, the motion picture, the suite. And then for the next 30 years, Star Trek just recycled 1 minute of it for everything they were doing. And they did that with this one.
Well, so it says paint up front. What?
One of the first albums I owned was his soundtrack to Logan's Run. I love that. I used to listen to it over and over again.
One of the few vinyl albums I own is Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yeah.
So, it's the only canon he ever did, I think. I mean, I looked and I couldn't find any others. Now, this is a soundtrack that splits people. It actually got nominated for a Razzie. We may even have won, I don't know. And also, some people regard it as one of his best, and some absolutely as one of his worst. There are people who pointed out that he kind of ripped off his own Rambo 2 a lot, which also got nominated for a Razzie, the soundtrack. But he uses, I mean, the main theme's pretty good, although you go, I've heard that before, Raiders. Raiders. And also, of course, he gets the public domain again to use a lot of Wagner in it. So
right.
It's not one of my favorites, I have to say. Some of the stuff isn't that great. And
it's got some good moments, but overall it's not fantastic.
I think you kind of phoned it in.
Did you collect movie soundtracks when you were a kid? Because I did, because that was the way you remembered the movie back then. Because it didn't come out on VHS for like 3 years, I
had quite a few. Most of them on cassettes. I had cassettes, or I'd record them from other that had them.
I had LPs, man. I had the Jaws soundtrack, the Star Wars one, Earthquake of all things. I got that one. I mean, I had tons of them.
I'm trying to buy a few more recently. I got the Black Hole recently. I mean, the soundtrack. Nothing else. Just
right.
Yes. So apparently, yes, it was nominated for the worst musical score. But Goldsmith's got a career as long as Peter Dinklage. As long as so he actually did the score for that Bernard Archer list of Adrian Messenger. He did Dr. Kildare, so there's a link to Richard Chamberlain.
He also did First Blood, right?
He did.
Yeah, because you can hear a little bit of First Blood in this one too, where he's definitely I think giving canon what they probably paid for, and just like, I did this one already, I'll use Wagner because it's public domain. It's like, I put, how much effort did you put it in, Jerry? Probably about 3 hours.
Yeah, so it was the only work for Canon he did, and I guess they didn't pay him, so he didn't come back. They didn't pay him. So that's some of the key players that are involved. There's some neat. Hey, this is what we do. We do trivia. So So let's get into the movie and show some slides and talk about it as it goes through. As I say, I don't have any clips to play today because MGM that owns the rights to this now are extremely. The trailer that I showed at the beginning, for those who know these things, I chopped it up and I re-edited it back in a different order. It's the only way I could get away with using it. So we start off with Professor, and I like the fact that it just kind of leaps in. There's no elongated backstory. You leap into the Professor with his sidekick and the dubious guy with the fez, Kassam, showing him a map on a carving of a naked woman. And let's face it, that's where I would put a map.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's where you would put a map, a carving of a naked woman.
I'm going to have to stare at something to decipher it. I might as well enjoy it.
Right, yeah. So because he knows what he's seeing, but he's playing hard to get. I did like it's a pretty tight. I mean, there's some bits later where I think it kind of goes on a little bit long, like when they're in the mines themselves. But I think this is pretty tight stuff in terms of an introduction. And don't get too used to his sidekick here, because I love this bit because I think, who the hell rigs their shop up with a rope you can cut and some spikes that will hit your door? Like, is that a security device, or was that just there for fun? Because it slams down and kills the guy as he's trying to escape the door. The Professor's sidekick didn't see it in the stills there. I thought, that's a bit dangerous. What if the rope just slips after the customer comes in the door? Hi.
Smash.
Yeah, and I like the fact that Kassem said, "My door." he was worried his door was damaged.
Yeah, that was a running gag with him. Everything getting damaged as a result of the fights in his establishment.
Yeah, there's quite a few running gags, but you then get introduced to Alan Quatermain and Jesse. And again, there's no preamble. It's straight in here. They're already out there looking for her father in the jungle, as it were. Oh, I love the line he says here. She goes, they're arguing about which way to go, and he said, "Look, you just got to trust me. It's a jungle out there." Just like, come on. That's when you know the tone is set for the movie. Like, it's going to be fun, you know. And then they come across this city in the jungle. That's Tanuga. Now, they actually built this city set, and it's really impressive.
Tongala? Is that
Tongala, that's it. Tongala. They built this set. There's a bit of a backstory because they built it and it was in the driest period, the nice dry period in Zimbabwe. And it wasn't supposed to rain for months, and it absolutely rained for days and destroyed the whole thing. They were sailing down the set in boats. So they off to a bad start. And then we get introduced to the Wagner fixation. Because this pair, it's funny, they're working together, but they can't stand each other.
Yeah.
And it's
the mustache, man. Right. Come on, you're killing me.
They keep playing Wagner. He only ever plays Ride of the Valkyrie. Wagner did more than that. Can't you play something else? You know. But yeah. So Quatermain and Jesse getting followed. Obviously, John Rhys-Davies' character Dogati. He knows who Quatermain is. The German, not a clue. Look at how tall John Rhys-Davies is there.
Yeah, so
this town is interesting because it's kind of like one of these weird mythical crossroads of everything. They've got Islamic guys, they've got African guys, all sorts of African guys. They've got white guys in morning jackets wandering around. It's like this crossroads of the universe kind of thing. And Kassam it was played by it's a canon guy called Shaiki Ophir. It's an Israeli guy who was in a lot of canon stuff. He was in the Delta Force and America 3000 as well. He used to do a lot of films in Israel with Golan and Globus before they became canon. So he's the Kassam character. And this is when I first thought, what if Chuck Norris was in this movie? There's a fixation with vegetable carts in this movie as well. I noticed.
Yeah, I think they definitely got to reuse the vegetable cart for the big pot later.
Yes, they did. But this is the funny bit. This is so they get her and they roll her out. Roll her out of the carpet. I thought this is Sharon Stone's become a carpet muncher here. They roll her out of the carpet, but she rolls right off the end, which I thought was a nice, funny move, and then escapes right into the vegetable cart. So a lot of impressive detail in these sets or whatever. I like Quatermain stands on top of that guy to get up onto the roof. And this was the delivery for the pot later, obviously.
What a bad time to be a vegetable merchant in Africa, man. Between him and Indiana Jones.
That's right.
It's hard to make a living.
Yeah, it's like in a Jackie Chan martial arts movie, never park a watermelon cart anywhere.
No, absolutely not.
No, this is funny. The House of Isis. Slightly controversial these days, I guess. I don't think that's what it meant then, but that's the old ISIS, meaning not the
House of Isis. No, not that one.
Not that one. No,
not that one. No.
Durka.
Bumblebee tuna. Bumblebee tuna.
Yeah. Bumblebee tuna. Yeah. Okay, so they're confronting Kassam. He's repaired his door. I hope he's put the spikes back up as well. Consulting Kassam about the map, the mysterious map. And he's quite right. I mean, everyone's looking for these fake maps to the... this is where he tries to put the bracelets on her, the slave bracelets. Sneaky bugger. And he drops through the roof, through the light in the top of the roof. It's quite an impressive entrance onto the desk, smashes it. So there's some neat action stuff.
My desk.
My desk. Rupert, I've been swindled.
I do recall why he was deeply offended because of what Sharon Stone said. But
yes, she did something around what he was wearing. Except he's not really. He's wearing a fez. So there's a lot of stalling going on, but then they found this. He says, please don't touch it. It's priceless. And he figures out it's actually been made 4 days ago. It's still wet, but this is so another funny line comes up because he cuts it open. Quatermain cuts it open. I love and he finds the body of the dead sidekick in it. Yeah, and that's when Kassam goes, Rupert, I've been swindled. It's all pretty neat stuff. It's fun. I mean, at this point, it's just fun. Why didn't they just bury him? I mean, it was formaldehyde. It's formaldehyde, I guess. So
well, I think they're playing on the fact that he could just bury him, or he could wrap him up as a mummy and sell him.
Yeah, this is at the point where Jesse keeps hitting Quatermain instead of the bad guy. So some quite nice choreographed action and some quite good humor. This is when you see the map with the breasts of Sheba on it. So Dogati and Bokner have got her father, and they seem to go to be having a great deal of trouble getting the location of the mines out of him.
Oh shit!
Why don't they just torture him properly instead of this threatening to torture him all the time?
Mm-hmm.
This is when Sharon Stone's legs come in handy.
Yeah.
So what we got? Yeah, so something a little bit camp about a man wearing a fedora with a leopard skin pattern band. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Fake mummies were, because Egyptology was huge during that Victorian and later post-Victorian period. Absolutely huge. So people would buy anything. It's like now. They'd see it on Etsy. Oh, that, yeah, real Egyptian mummy. $29.99.
It's the going out of business sale. So.
So a lot of the early actions concerned with racing through the streets of the city. Schweinhund. This is the great line as well. Another funny line. He says, I have 2 words for you. Talk or die. That's 3 words.
Right. Damn it.
Good one. Talk or die. That's 3 words.
He's pretty damn funny, though. Love that guy.
That guy there, the German guy, he has a significant role to play later. And it's not a pleasant one.
No.
It's quite progressive for its time. He swings both ways.
Wow.
And there's Mbopo, their friend, helping out. It's funny because he's in all this stuff and then he kind of disappears for a while, then comes back later to save them. Where he reveals his true role in the nation. But yeah, some pretty good action stuff, very reminiscent of Raiders. I think we may have already had the first of the running gags in the store when Quatermain throws the dynamite so they can escape. And the guy grabs the dynamite eventually and goes, I have it. And then it explodes. So every time there's a stick of dynamite in it, somebody says, I have it. And then invariably it explodes.
Brainiacs, one and all.
Yes. Some pretty good stuff. Yeah. Secondary male protagonist trope. Exactly. The Mummy of the Pharaoh rootin' tootin' on sale this week. Yes, D-Bud, my great friend. We talked about it earlier. It's Bernard Archard, who was in Pyramids of Mars and The Power of the Daleks way before. So well spotted, my friend. Some Doctor Who quality in that one. He doesn't trust anything that moves without eating grass, which is quite funny. Albeit would be seen as terribly offensive now.
Mm-hmm.
You could say that, I mean, the portrayals, I mean, the Zimbabwean government were fully involved in this, and they didn't seem to have a problem with some of the stuff that was the way that people were being portrayed as some of the tribes. So
I suspect as long as the checks cleared, they kept not having a problem with it.
That's what I was to say, man. Yeah.
Well, but did the checks clear? It's canon.
That's very true.
The only check that cleared was Herbert Lom. Because he's from Czechoslovakia.
It's not going to stop.
Because he's from Czechoslovakia. That was a drum roll. The train stuff is great. This whole sequence I thought was fantastic. You know, some great stunts, some great fights. This Netflix special, 30% off the mysterious Mummy of Miami. Nice one. Yeah, they did a great job with this stuff.
I did think the train sequence, it's funny because, you know, obviously Alan Quatermain's ripping off a lot of Indiana Jones, and then a couple years after this movie, we get the intro sequence to The Last Crusade, where there's a whole train sequence that is not dissimilar in terms of comedic beats to what was happening on this one.
Yeah.
This one, yeah. And this one did it first, but they actually did a great job with this, I thought. I guess they didn't have to worry too much about killing any extras. It was, they weren't paying them anyway. So.
No, they were making the actors doing this. It wasn't extra. Like,
right? That don't look like a stunt man to me. Whoa, check the rocks. Yeah,
it's like Richard Chamberlain might have done this just so he could actually do stunts. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't some. I mean, I guess in the Three Musketeers, they did a lot of and some stunts, but I don't think he'd ever done anything like this. I don't know what his Jason Bourne was like.
Oh, it was more of a drama. It wasn't really an action show. It was for television. It was made for television. Yeah, in the 70s, late 70s. I'll get the year for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. I've heard of it before. Now I think about it. Yeah, so Sharon's looking good here. I love this scene, and I wanted to play this clip. He bursts in the door, and they're all hundreds of guns pointing up. Great reflexes, boys. I'm proud of you. And then this bizarre, I think this like when the Saints came marching in or something he's playing it. A very bizarre scene.
I stand corrected. 1988 is when it came out.
Right.
1988.
So
I thought it was in the 70s.
RR says Spielberg ripped something off and makes it better at the same time. That's true genius. Chamberlain did some stunts in Shogun in 1980. Yeah. I mean, he's not an unphysical guy.
Yeah,
no.
He's a tall, athletic-looking guy, but
his co-star in The Bourne Identity is one of the angels, Jacqueline Smith.
Ooh.
Yes.
I see.
Yes. The brunette.
Well, it's funny because we saw Cheryl Ladd mentioned on that fake Doctor Who poster earlier. So.
Yeah.
Uncharted vibes. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So they find the father after fighting their way through this train. And, of course, this was a mistake because he wasn't going to talk until, of course, his daughter's there and they threaten her.
And, of course, my inner gun nerd was just going off this entire time laughing hysterically because you have a bunch of Germans and a Turk all using British weapons.
That's right.
We got a bunch of Lee Enfields and a Webley.
Yeah. Which just tells you that Zimbabwe used to be a British colony.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they just used whatever they had lying around.
That link I put in, guys, is for the IMDb page for The Bourne Identity starring Richard Chamberlain and Jacqueline Smith.
In the private chat, or
no? I threw it in both chats on both channels. You have to copy and paste it out of the YouTube one. Yeah,
so I just don't see it in the YouTube one.
Well, it may not be there. It may not allow. But I'll put it in the private chat.
And I'll post it. Yeah. It was indeed Rhys-Davies, John Rhys-Davies, the best Welsh Turk in history.
I think it's well known that Turkey and Wales are genetically identical. It's
pretty
just
close. Yeah,
might as well.
There's only the entirety of Europe between them.
There you go, Brian.
That's
in there.
Yeah, that's an incidental thing.
Incidental. So let me just copy this.
That's for the IMDb page for The Bourne Identity.
Jason Bourne.
Mm-hmm. The Bourne Identity. It's same name as the movie. It was a TV miniseries in 1988.
Cool. So whilst all this fighting is going on at various places, there are rebels working for Umbopo. They're shelling, mortaring the train, and very accurately killing the Germans on it, I have to say. Not their guy who was fighting on the train. Now, this is the most bizarre part of the whole movie.
Oh, my God.
I find you must have tried. I was talking to your father, but I'm not fussy. And I said, but I'm not particular. It's the most bizarre thing. So a gauge German imperialist rapist of who has no particular preference
Right? It's the German version of that scene from the Boondocks.
He seems to prefer the old guy as opposed to Sharon Stone. So, but what I thought of when I saw it was because he says, I don't want torture, pain. I like to give pleasure, not pain. I thought, here we go. It's death by Umbopo.
Oh no.
It's like the old joke. There's an old joke about that. I choose death I choose Umbopo. Okay, the verdict is death by Umbopo. So yeah, a fairly bizarre scene, I felt. A little bit out of keeping with some of the movie, but then there's actually a little bit of an error there when Quatermain first puts when you see him first, he shoots him right in the balls. When you see him first about to put the shotgun through the floor, it's got plugs in the end of it. Now, the one that eventually you see through the floor doesn't, but the one he's handling has got plugged barrels in it.
Funny.
So you did see that. So anyway, he has given away the secret of the mines, but then he knows where they are, so they can get there too. So death by Bongo. So the train stuff's great. I mean, and it's pretty high. So they've had all the chase scenes in the city. They have all the action on the train.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we switch to the air. So they're getting them all. They're getting
all of it.
The vegetable cart chase in a car, getting the train, and now they're going to get the biplane. That German should have been in the biplane, I thought. But,
It's the Red Baron.
Yeah.
No.
I do. I've got to agree with Soul Assassin here. Buckshot in the balls. Quatermain is savage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sham hunting wabbits.
There are easier ways to go up an octave, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you ever see that old movie, The Great Waldo Pepper?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. Wasn't that Robert Redford? He was in that.
Yes. Now, this is funny because why the hell would you let the woman drive? What are you thinking, Quatermain? Well, they missed a gag as well. They missed a possible gag because he's shouting at her. She says, "But I pull back on the stick or whatever." He says, "Well, She says, "I drive a car." Well, stick. They should have said, She should have said, "I drive an automatic."
Right.
They missed a gag there.
Well, it was the 19-teens, so that might not.
They might not have had automatics back then.
Break the fourth wall. Who cares?
I mean, the Model Ts that would have been around at the time had a throttle lever instead of an accelerator. They didn't even have a transmission.
But he does say, right there between your legs, pull it. It's a phrase that Sharon Stone heard in many movies after it. This is nuts, this whole thing. You can
Tim
tell.
says she is related to Amelia Earhart.
Yeah. Well, we know what happened to her.
Yeah. Or do we know what happened to her?
Well,
we really don't.
They did just find her plane, they think.
Oh, they did? Oh, that's great.
They think.
Yeah.
They're pretty sure, including some parts that match.
So thank you to Eric K for a $1.99 super chat. Keeping the lights on here. And D-Bear Martin will know that I am on the very brink of opening up the memberships. What you get this show out the way first. $1.99 from Eric K. Thank you, Eric, brother. Great guy. Great guy. Met him in person. Great guy. Young Sharon Stone, yowza. Absolutely. She is very cute in this. So cute. We got to play a clip. It's got to be the same one again.
Sweetheart, we're married.
Consider that a divorce.
She's never looked better. Thank you, Eric. Anyway, pull back on the stick. Yes, it's fun stuff, but you know. And why does the German actually speak in mixed German and English?
Oh man!
Does he know it's English people flying the other plane? Can they even hear him?
No.
That would be even funnier if he's talking to himself in English.
Right.
Why am I talking in English with a German accent? It's funny though how he kicks the guy in the head. That's right.
Yeah.
Flies over him and kicks him in the head, which is just impossible.
No.
How could she? She would never match speed and height.
No, not at all. Especially, I don't think that had retractable landing gear. So yeah, it was damn near impossible.
Yeah. So she kicks him. The Mummy is a great throwback adventure. I don't think it takes as much liberties with this genre as this film does.
No.
This is again, he's getting pissed off with. We travel mountains, rivers. Do we have to listen to that Wagner crap too?
Uncultured barbarian.
He's right, though. I mean, you get sick of the same thing again and again. I love it that the first thing that happens here is that all their press gang natives immediately take the opportunity to scarp her. I'm out here.
Oh shit! She's gonna drop bombs on them fools. Look out!
And you know that was pretty much high tech at the time. Of
Yeah.
The most accurate way to bomb was literally a guy hanging over the side of the aircraft,
dropping them. Right?
That's the way they did it in the First World War. Yeah. Actually, we missed a line there in these slides, which is where they all start to run away, and Bochner starts shouting at them, "I order you all to come back!" And it's in German, and John Rhys-Davies says, "Well, with their great understanding of German, that should bring them back." I love those lines. He's got the best lines. And there's I commanded them to come back. And then he says, "You never see the German army run away." And then that's exactly what he does when the elephants appear. Yeah, so this is where they got hold.
Brown goop leaking.
Brown goop leaking. Yes, we're running out of brown goop.
That would be oil, young lady.
If it stops leaking, let me know.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I never should have. I told you that. Never let her. Why did he let the woman? There we have the Twin Peaks. At last, now you'd crash between them, would be at the mines. I would have aimed right for the middle of them. Yeah. Soft landing.
And they walked away from that.
They did.
Yes.
I gotta keep my notes straight because there's some great one-liners coming up. No, this is great because okay, there's one guy in the hill that goes, "Oh, we're fine," and then 10,000 appear.
Right.
And this is where people started to get pissed off at the time and why they don't like this movie now, because it portrays this particular tribe as
cannibals.
Well, they like a snack of a particular long pig. They like a little bit of long pig. He is wearing a necklace from King Solomon's Mines, though, which he recognizes the dynasty and all that. So I like that. Yeah, I'm going to run out of bullets before they run out of spears. And then later on, when she says, "Should we make a break for it?" he goes, "Well, you take those 1,000 and I'll take those 1,000. So he is quite funny. And then the pot. This is the most.
Look at the size of that damn thing.
That's
crazy.
I love it.
This is probably the most over the top and ridiculous this movie gets.
It is. Just, we're not being invited for dinner. They're having us for dinner. It's funny. Yeah, it's so funny.
Ladies first. That's right.
That's
One man show.
Yeah, you take the 1,000 on the right. I'll take the 1,000 on the left. I'm working on a plan, but this these guys, right? They're supposed to be cannibals. They're not very fussy eaters. I mean, they're going to eat all that clothing that they're wearing, the leather stuff, the shoes. They're not going to take all that off.
Well, you got to figure it's like when you get corn on the cob, you can either leave the husk on when you cook it, or you can, take the husk off.
That's true.
How do you want to do it?
That's true.
Leaving the shotgun shells on was probably a bad mistake, but
right.
Yeah. Especially as he took the shotgun, he could have used the shells.
Right. Yeah. Does he still have that on his hip there?
Yeah, I think he might, but this is
just over the top right here. Look at this.
They're in the soup. Yeah. They're obviously going to be. They're not going to barbecue them. They're going to have them in soup. So, but there's a lot of people to feed, and this is it. There's thousands of people, and this is the best they can do. This pair, But yeah, it's funny. And then his big plan to get out, of course, is rock the boat. Don't rock the boat, baby.
The chat is killing me. It is killing me.
Which part of? Well. Indeed. The breasts, or would you go for the seafood? Roughage.
When the pot is a rocking, don't come knocking.
Don't come knocking. That's right. The other. Well, he says that they prefer white meat. This is when you could tell the movie was a parody.
Oh my God.
Taco Bell. It's Taco Bell. Yeah. Chat's on fire. Need more potatoes. It's a cookbook. The book, they're using the book to serve man. In this case, man and woman. But it's the Blue Man Group. Yeah, the Blue Man Group were there on the drums. I mean, it's what I have to say is just while I pause this is it's the same with the tribe later on that capture them. Thousands of people standing around. Were they standing around waiting for this pair to arrive? I mean, haven't they got jobs to do? Shouldn't they be out hunting and like they're all standing there waiting? Rolling, rolling, rolling. It's funny. I mean, Raiders never went this far.
I mean, it seems like a good stew, but it's a bit runny.
It's a bit runny. I mean, where's the flavoring?
No seasoning.
They were going to have to put a lot of salt and pepper in that. And then we have another curious scene.
What I want to know is how dirty. How did that water get that dirty?
It's Sharon Stone.
Oh.
And then, of course, the lions take over, and the lion is fascinated by what they're up to rather than to come in and eat them. Right. Waiter, there's a white man in my soup. As opposed to a fly. Yeah. They're discussing their next course of action. You're killing it out there. You're killing it.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and then, of course, the first thing you would think of in this situation is getting it on.
Well, I mean, she's already wet.
That's true. She's already.
Hello.
Yeah. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the Germans have arrived and they're shooting up the cannibals. But the lions have decided they're not going to eat this pair because they're just not appetizing in the slightest. Now that is acting. Yeah, Richard Chamberlain really acted that part pretty well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, by the way, but I'm pretty sure the shorts Sharon Stone are wearing not really authentic to the era for what a woman would be wearing.
No,
probably not.
At best, she'd probably be wearing a pencil skirt. That's for sure.
Yeah, but they did show off her legs and her ass quite well. So
no, that was the point, right?
Yeah. We're trapped in a giant pot. A lion is staring at us. Let's screw. And the lion, that's something I don't see every day. Anyway, this is the weird fantasy section with the people who clearly have headaches all the time because they're hanging upside down all day. But they're nice. This is like an upside down laundromat. Nice people, though. Lovely people. They helped them out, cleaned their clothes. Didn't clean her underwear, I noticed, which is a shame. I heard you were hung. They were right. Well played, Emperors. Well played. But yeah, weirdest fantasy section of the movie. But oh, this is the crown. Yeah, something from the mines, of course.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah.
me.
What mushrooms did they use?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm all for a bit of fantasy, but a tribe that just does nothing but hang upside down, not practical.
Not really.
Besides, if they're dressing her up as a virgin sacrifice, I think they're going to be a little disappointed.
Right.
That's right, yeah. At what point do they find out? Yeah. Too late.
Uh-oh. The German has a safari hat on. That can't be good.
He seems to be able to he seems to get new sidekicks, even though a lot of them get killed all the time. But,
yeah.
He's got an endless supply of new sidekicks. However, they're hot on the trail, but yet just outside the border of the nice people hanging from the tree, there's another nasty bunch. Gang, gula, 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 gula. The
gula, gula.
The gula, gula. And headed by, I think it's a woman with a plastic face. Not one of the best makeup jobs in the canon movie, but and some pretty big looking guys there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this lot again, they're all standing around in this compound doing. I mean, how did they know this pair were going to arrive? Were they just going to stand there for months?
Yeah, that's
like, what were they doing that they were just standing there? Don't they have jobs to do?
Flash mob. I got
right.
it. Flash mob. That's what it was. Yes.
Yeah.
They heard through the smoke signals to be here at this certain time.
Right.
Now, this reading in Austin Trunick's Canon Film Guide, Volume 2, where he talks about this movie, this is one of the most interesting parts of the film, because a lot of the other stuff, there's a lot of green screen used. You'll see it with Richard Chamberlain being hung over here. You can see on the edge of his hair, it's still all green. However, his stand-in, was actually suspended over real crocodiles for about 4 hours while they filmed all this. Like, actually over them. And they were feeding them stuff to make them
snap
a bit of a frenzy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's green screen, but the guy, his stunt double actually did it. They could have green screened the whole thing, but no, this is canon. We're getting real crocodiles.
Real crocodiles, damn it.
Yeah. They pay them to stand around with giant pointy sticks. Hush, it's part of the prophecy. And then a bit more hazard pay, but yeah, they actually hung the guy up for hours over these crocodiles and pretty close to them as well. The things people do for movies. But anyway, Bobo reappears after being absent for a while, and in a bit of a Deus Ex Machina scene, reveals he's actually the leader of this the true leader of this tribe, and displaces plastic-faced woman. Or it could be a guy. I assumed it was a woman. I don't know. He's the rightful ruler, and he's got the scar to prove it. So that saves Richard Chamberlain's bacon, but then the Germans arrive and mess it all up. So,
yeah,
as they do. But yeah, the crocodile scene, excellent stuff.
Good old Hollywood and the Magic Factory back in the day before CGI. Yeah.
Well, I forgot a couple of the great lines from the cooking pot scene. Jesse says to Quatermain, "I'm scared." He says, "You too." And then she says, I hope they choke on us.
Right. I don't think that gun he's got's big enough, though.
No.
They needed to make it bigger.
They did. The size matters, when it comes to weapons. It's a rollicking good romp, but they're getting closer to their objective, which is the mines. The breasts of Sheba.
The breasts of Sheba. Yes.
Really, after you. Well, hey, no, I'm going to I'll go first if it's the breasts of Sheba.
Who knew that the two best movies John Rhys-Davies would ever be in would involve going into mines? Moria and this one.
Yep. It's a weird set of movie. I mean, he made that Sahara movie for Canon too, where he's playing similar stuff going on. He must have thought, I'm destined to be the Welshman that plays Arabic guys in adventure movies forever.
Right.
I'm getting tired of these mother effing Germans in this jungle. This is a fun sequence, though, with the Germans. When they get into the quicksand or mud, whatever it is. And so they start shooting. And meanwhile, they're all sinking.
Yes.
And Fritz has got the gramophone still playing, and he's saying, "Stop sinking, that's an order." That'll work. Stop sinking.
Quicksand.
And then, of course, Salah, I called him Salah.
How can you keep from calling him that, right? I mean, that's who he is.
Dugatti says, "Thank God that's the end of the Wagner." And then he shoots everyone that's in the quicksand so they can walk over them. So German soldiers, his own guys, shoots them all so they can walk over their bodies to get over the quicksand. Could have just gone round.
Well, his clothes dried fast, didn't they?
They did. And now we're getting into the leftover sets from Masters of the Universe.
Yes. Yes.
Except I think that was made later.
Because not content with ripping off Raiders of the Lost Ark, they had to go for Temple of Doom as well.
They did.
Right.
Which I think Temple of Doom might have been after this. Like a year later.
I think it was.
I might be wrong though.
It was either contemporaneous or before.
Yeah. But it does have that feel for sure. Maybe somebody will be able to tell us.
Hang on, I'm pulling it up now.
Doom came out. I can't remember if it was before or after.
85 for this film. Temple of Doom.
Oh, I see. I'm just reading up in
84.
Austin.
It was first.
So it was first. So they copied that with a bit of Excalibur thrown in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. According to Austin, to ensure that the crocs would be active in opening their jaws, they actually slathered the stunt guy with like Spam and chum jelly and meat. So the crocs were actually jumping up to try and get him. And they had marksmen standing by to shoot the crocs.
Hope he trusted the rope guy.
Yeah. So they had marksmen ready to shoot the crocs before Bradford was torn apart if he fell. That is if the sharp drop neck first into 6 inches of water didn't kill him first.
Come on.
So he got his money. He earned his money. Richard Bradford. I think it was Richard Bradford. Andy Bradford. So that's cinema verity there. So a bunch of deviously engineered traps to get into this place, which is what you would expect. And then they finally get to.
My question is, who feeds the spider when there's not anybody trying to break into the temple?
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Who feeds the spider?
Spider's
Just like, why are all these tribesmen standing around chanting instead of off tilling the fields and getting game?
Well, that's why they're really happy when somebody shows up trying to break into the temple. It means nobody has to go in and feed the spider this week.
No, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, the spider's been there for a long time without food, clearly. There must be bats and rats and stuff.
Yeah.
I do like some of these traps, though. They're pretty neat. This would have been an ideal time for them to get it on one last time.
Right? Oh, no.
Ah, the old walls compressing on you.
Yeah.
I've seen that before.
Star Wars much?
Yeah, yeah.
But, I mean, you know, all of that came from the serials, right? That they grew up on stuff like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But not bad. I mean, it's pretty good. Pretty good sets.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's a fun movie. No doubt about it, man.
Yeah, it's just I watched it when I was younger, so I see, I saw this as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed like a fun action comedy. I mean, it's right. You watch Jewel of the Nile, Romancing the Stone.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's all in the same vein of just goofy action comedy.
Supply of Purina spider chow. Canon films when accuracy is more important than safety. I'm not even sure accuracy, when just getting it finished, is more important than safety.
Right.
It doesn't have to be accurate.
I swallowed a bug.
Yes. So, now you see, one man show's about to get permabanned because he's hinting at a movie that doesn't exist, and we're not going to talk about that movie.
There's only one Highlander flick, dude. Come on.
Don't even say the name of the first one because it'll suggest that we even know
we even know what he's talking about. Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
So
you always need a good Scotsman to play a Spaniard, right?
You do.
Don't you?
Well, he's an Egyptian with a Spanish name.
That's right, Egyptian. I forgot. He's multicultural.
He is. So we've got a Welshman playing a Turk here.
Right.
A rather dirty-faced Turk as well, which is not quite... I mean, it's a weird...
An Englishman
makeup.
Playing a German, too. So
It's a weird makeup. Unless he's meant to be dirty from crawling through the mines. I don't know. And an Englishman playing a German. Well, he's a Czech who became an Englishman
He is Czech,
playing a German.
Mm-hmm.
I mean... It's pretty good though for what it is. It is like it's a comedy, and I'm reading again Austin's chapter about it in the Canon film guides. Canon didn't market it properly as a comedy. They marketed it purely on the action.
Yeah,
and so people went to see it and went, "Well, this is fun, but it's a comedy. It's not." Some people wanted it to be more of a serious action movie. That kind of adventure, where it was really veered well to the comedy side. Well, there's the plastic face again.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you get when you melt a Barbie.
I guess Joan Rivers must have been busy on this set.
If Joan Rivers and Grace Jones ever met, melded. German laxatives are the best in the world. Eat the stones. Eat the stones. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
it's cool stuff.
It's fun. If you went into it though expecting Raiders of the Lost Ark, you would get it. You wouldn't get it. You would think this is just a cheap ripoff. It's a comedic parody.
Mm-hmm.
With some great effects and action. I mean, this is all good stuff for the period. There's some ropey green screen in it.
Yeah.
here and there, especially with Richard Chamberlain and obviously
the alligator thing.
Some pretty ropey green screen, but a lot of the rest of it, it's well filmed. The cinematography is great. I mean, Africa always looks good in these things, the landscape stuff. Oh, he's got the diamonds on his head here.
Yeah,
but doesn't he get it? This place is full of traps.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, if the cannibal tribe made the German dude in the soup, meat came as a prize. There'd be some Schnatzengruber in that. I am assistant backup chief Tupperware. German laxatives like Mussenschützen. The made-up tribal names. I think H. Rider Haggard probably did that. Kukawana, Oompa Loompa. Yeah. No, and people did say at the time this is very problematic. Even then, they certainly wouldn't do it now in anything like this. Although, if you think about it, the kingdoms around King Solomon's Mines are kind of like what the Wakanda of their day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, it's the Wakanda of its day.
Yeah. Maybe.
Minus the tech.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, I mean, they say it's all very problematic, but I mean, it's not like Quatermain and Houston are super wonderful saviors of everything. I mean, it takes their friend who's the real tribal leader to save them.
Mm-hmm.
The German is the baddie, very much a white guy. So it plays on the tropes, I think. Yes, we need more fun adventure films that piss on everyone's feelings. I'm all for that. Absolutely all for that. There was a fairly good one made for Netflix a couple of years ago, and I'm trying to remember who was in it. Wasn't it Sandra Bullock? Didn't she make a film like
The Lost City?
Yeah.
It was actually a theater movie.
With,
was it Channing Tatum and
Brad Pitt?
Brad Pitt,
who mysteriously comes back from the dead.
Yeah.
Oh, spoiler alert!
Spoiler.
But that was that was the same kind of thing as this, I think. So,
yeah, I think they make a nice point of if it's a lost civilization, so all the bad people are modern day. Like it was Harry Potter was the villain.
Yeah.
So they kept it white and straight as the villain, so they avoided this kind of problem.
They did. That there was somebody credited there as rug carrier. But there it was, King Solomon's Mines. I've seen worse.
Oh yeah, me too.
I've seen a lot worse. Adventures of the Four Crowns, which is also canon, that's probably could be seen as being worse. And the Valiant one, is it Prince Valiant or wherever? The
I'll
one with
tell
Sean
you this:
Connery.
I'd rather watch this than Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
Or whatever they called that last one. What was it? Dial of Dysentery or some shit
Dysentery.
like that? I can't remember what it was.
That's right. Dial of Dysentery is a parody without being funny. If you're going to do a parody, you got to make it funny.
I haven't even seen that movie. I actually went and saw Crystal Skull expecting something better, and
I
wow,
was so disappointed with Crystal Skull.
Mm-hmm.
This was fun.
Yes, like I said, I'd rather watch that than those movies. That's for sure.
Canon obviously hoped they would get a trilogy. They had the third one planned, but the second one, which wasn't nearly as good.
I don't even remember the second one.
The second one was the one where they added James Earl Jones, and it was the Lost City of Gold. The terrible fight with James Earl Jones and like the lion puppet.
It's terrible.
And then the guys melting in the gold. It was somehow this lost African city had like two white queens.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah. The thing is, I think they asked James Earl Jones about why he did it because it was so terrible. And he gave some answer about going back to his roots or something like that, because obviously it was filmed in Africa. He should have just said it was a paycheck.
Yeah, it's just a paycheck. Gene Hackman never made an excuse for the work he did. He said, look, I took any job that came along. You never know when you're going to get another one. Yeah. And it was just nowhere near as good as the first one, which is a pretty fine comedic adventure movie. The second one was, it's like the same thing. They did the same thing with Hercules. The first Hercules they made was pretty good, and we'll do it one day. The second one, they kind of used the sweepings off the floor to put a second movie together, plus tricked Lou Ferrigno into filming what was supposedly meant to be like secondary footage for the first movie, and then putting that in the second movie. They tricked them.
Right. Yeah. Canon never used that trick ever.
Never do they use that trick. So, but yeah, it's. I don't know what was it. Yeah, I think James Earl Jones he should have just said, look, he told press visiting the shoot that he'd taken the job so he could visit Africa and explore his roots. But his lethargic performance from that, you can see that even he felt this material was beneath him. It was a paycheck, He got to go on a paid trip.
Yeah, I was about to say, he went to go to Africa and didn't have to pay for it. So,
It's like when you see Adam Sandler make those movies with his friends. He does a movie like Blended. Like, why would you do that movie? He's like, because I went to a resort in South Africa for 3 months to film this movie with my family, and they paid me to do it.
That's right. Right. Well, for me, the all-time classic for that is Michael Caine, when they said, why in God's name did you make Jaws 4? It was a terrible movie. He said, well, it might have been a terrible movie, but have you seen the house it bought my mother?
Right, yeah. Remember that one.
Yeah. So, in general, guys, how do you feel?
Oh, it's a fine movie. It's wholly unbelievable, but it's not supposed to be believable. It's supposed to be a comedy fantasy type thing. It's fun.
Yeah, kind of the movie genre we need to have make a comeback.
Yeah,
we do. Absolutely. Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's almost a kind of in the vein of an Airplane or a Naked Gun or Hot Shots. It's kind of leaning that way, although none of the same.
They just don't go for broke with it. I see what you're saying.
Because it's not made by people who are involved. Yeah, it's not made by people who were involved in those movies who really leaned into that hard, but it's leaning that way. But it was a moderate success for Canon. Still, people remember it today. And hey, here we are making a show about it. And I thoroughly enjoyed watching it like 3 times this week. So some good one-liners in it. Cast are fine.
And it follows that Canon trend of it doesn't need to be the cinematic masterpiece that has this deep meaning. It just needs to be a fun movie.
Yeah, exactly. Ice Pirates, exactly. Very, very good comparison.
There's a reason why we call these things guilty pleasures. I mean, I want you to really think about this, guys. Is the only thing that makes Temple of Doom better than this is the budget and the way they spent it. Okay, it's about the same kind of.
The only thing that makes Temple of Doom better is the care, the writing, the directing, the budget, the acting. I mean, but if you take those things out, it's just basically the same movie. The entire care that went into it from craft services on. There's no stories about how the cast.
Other than that.
There's no stories about how the cast hated Sharon Stone so much they pissed in her tub.
Right.
So that,
we're getting into Monty Python and the Life of Brian territory. Well, apart from all that, what have the Romans ever done for us?
Right.
I will say this to this movie's credit: Kathleen Kennedy was not associated with it.
That's right. No, and it was all the better for it.
Yeah, how did Chuck Norris not get cast as Quartermain?
Norris was Quartermain. He just looks like Quartermain.
I mean, it's not like they got Richard Chamberlain and they still told him to be American. So,
Yeah.
Well, what was Chuck Norris filming at the time? Because
he would have been busy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Canon couldn't have just shunted him around to the different sets. This is Yeah.
Temple of Doom had monkey brains. This movie had cannibalism.
Yep.
It's true.
So I vote this movie.
That's true. This is far less problematic because of that. And I love this movie because I watched it when I was a kid, but it's like it's one of those ones where it's just goofy and silly, and I watch it from the eyes I first saw it with, rather than like, oh, if I'm being really critical, it's like that's terrible green screen. It's this, it's that, the other. Clearly Richard Chamberlain. I feel like Chamberlain maybe when he signed up for it was going to try, but then it was like, whatevs, I'm just going to be goofy and have a fun time.
You've got to willingly suspend your disbelief when it comes to canon films. Or is it suspend your willy in disbelief? It's one or the other. The chat have been great, though. Thank you, everybody. You're small but beautifully put together crew today. That's 20 plus people. You know, that's pretty good. Thank you all of you for being here. You've been on fire. You made us laugh. I appreciate your support. We're probably going to wrap up on King Solomon's Mines. So what have you guys got going on in the next few days? Speak up now or forever hold someone else's peace.
I got co-host the Ascendant Art podcast Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. 70s comes on and hangs out on that one, usually on the tail end. So we just kind of hang out and talk about whatever on that show. So come join us Friday. Like, subscribe, all those good things that will help our channel grow.
Indeed, Ascendant Art, great channel. Always fun hanging out with you, buddy.
Indeed it is.
And Imp's on that show too.
Yeah.
What are you up to, Imp?
This week, nothing other than the Ascendant Art podcast.
All right, cool. Well, you've got plenty of time to get ready.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Pope, my son.
Well, as for me, every week we could do the Midnight Mass radio show over on Rumble, where you can, hang out with me and blast some tunes for a couple of hours. It's usually just a mix of, what I'm listening to, some really classic tunes, some underappreciated stuff that I think people haven't heard, some of the more obscure stuff. Like Imp would be proud of me. I put some Immortal on this week's playlist.
Nice.
I think it was Withstand the Fall of Time.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But
their song titles get a little wordy.
They do. They're musically fantastic, though. But other than that, I should have another episode of Rock and Roll Religion coming out here fairly soon. Once I actually film it. But other than that, it's just here and whoever else's show I appear on.
Yeah, it's good to see you here, mate. Thank you for being here, as always. And Joe, the hardest working man on YouTube.
Second to Tom Connors. You know this. You know this already.
Let's go on, buddy.
The regular schedule is up on the page. You guys know you can see a trailer when you go to my page for everything that's going on during the week, including Pop Culture Minefield show I was on this morning, and including this show. So, and there's links to their channels. And like Little Chad was saying, subscribe to everybody and support us all. The only outstanding things this week, DCUO on Tuesday night, my video game streams. Let's see. That's 10 o'clock Tuesday is DCUO, DC Universe Online, for those that don't know what that anagram means. And we're trying something new this week. I finished Mass Effect Wednesday night. So after State of the Atmosphere, Martin and I will be playing A Way Out. And it's a game where we have to play together to get anything
when you
done.
Say you finished Mass Effect, do you mean just the first game or the whole
first
series?
game? The first game. Yeah.
Go on and play 2 and 3 now.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, but I like to break it up, man. It's coming. I enjoyed it. To tell you, I did it in 15 parts.
Strike while the iron is hot.
No,
you're missing out on Miranda's ass. Come on,
it's very true.
Let me tell you something, man. I got Ash's ass in this one. That was cool. I like that one, and we'll check out somebody else in the next one. I've got a target for the next one that I'm gonna go after. So, yeah. I'm going to play it. It's just me and Martin want to do. We've been talking about this. We actually ran a test today, and it looks like we're going to be able to play together, even though he's south of the border, if you know what I mean. The internet's going to work, and it's a co-op game. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these co-op games, guys, but it can be funny.
I'm not a big fan, except when I ask Imperatus to help me kill things in Elden Ring.
Oh, there you go.
That's the only co-op I like.
Yeah. This is something where you actually have to work together to get something done.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a neat concept. Looking forward to trying it out with him. But anyway, that's Wednesday at 10 p.m.
Good.
Other than that, it's the normal fare,
All right,
my pop culture show, the one with my brother, and my comic book show.
Well,
So
thanks again for being here.
Always,
Appreciate
man. Love it.
As for me, next Monday, I'm not got anything planned because I'm going to have a pretty busy weekend. The local Strathmore Stampede and Rodeo is on, and there's some gigs and stuff. So I'm probably going to spend most of the weekend, Friday through Sunday, at that. So I'm not planning anything next Monday. If there is anything, it'll be an impromptu, just chat about anything type thing rather than anything planned.
There you go.
But we've been doing pretty well on the channel. Up to about 1,770 subs. I had a bit of a burst of subs recently, 1,727. It's not that long ago, we're at 1,500. Had a video out about Stackridge, British progressive rock band, which for whatever reason I thought I'd get 30 views on that thing. It's got 8,728 views so far. So
that's what they look to you for, the obscure 70s knowledge, bro.
Catching a bit of the algorithm there. Generally nice comments on it. There's been a couple of
that and Colossus. It's always the weird stuff that gets us.
Yeah, the Colossus. Well, I'm thinking about that. Somebody said it's because it's about AI, so we may well do War Games soon. I think just to keep.
Oh man, what a great movie that is! What a great cast that movie has. Holy shit!
Oh yeah.
So check.
Abney Coleman just passed away a couple months ago.
I know.
Yeah.
So check that stuff out, everybody. D-Bud, you'll be pleased to know that in this next week, now that I'm not doing any heavy prep for the show next week, I will be launching memberships. So
we'll believe it when we see it.
It's all ready to go. I just got to make a little video. That's it. Yes, D-Bud, I am going to launch them. It's going to happen either before next Monday or even live next Monday. Who knows?
There you go.
But this will also give me a chance to work on some videos I've been working on for a while. And just, again, tweak things and think of the future, where the channel's going, what's happening. Thank you to the mods, by the way, today. D-Bud, Davina, Lord Thoth, Eric K was in for a while too. We have great mods, but we also have a fantastic chat and community here that come on and into these chats every time and support me. And we have a lot of fun, which is what it's all about. We're here to have fun. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it very much. You'll probably see me later on Comics Division Monday Night Meltdown. And then, who knows? The week will unfold as it does. So until then, stay well, everybody. But don't forget to keep on rocking, because that's the most important thing. So have a great week, everyone. Cheers.